in to reinforce and bought enough time for some extra cannons to come in at his natural expansion there. But he needs to be careful with that. Oh, man, and a ton of overlords are going down. Oh, that is really, really going to hurt Shine. Shine coming in here. It looks like he's trying to press this home. This is all in for Shine. He is all in on this attack. He has not stopped producing Hydralisks. He knows he has an advantage. He knows he's broken the door. He's trying to try and just force this attack home as much as possible. Bisu having to bring off the probes here, but Bisu is able to macro a lot. He's still got the 3 bases, well, 2 bases mining, and Shine only has the 3. His 4th base got killed off. Bisu trying to make more cannons desperately, but those cannons are going to die if Shine turns around and just kills them off with those Hydras. But Shine is not killing them off with the Hydras. I think critically, Shine has been, his production has been stopped because he just lost like 7 or 8 Overlords to those Corsairs, and so he's not able to produce more Hydralisks. This is the last batch of Hydralisks. If Bisu can hold this off, he's going to be able to build his front door back up, and he's going to have a huge advantage going into the later game. But he's, oh man, losing a ton of probes though. More Mutalisks coming out here. Oh man, this could be bad. This could be bad. He did manage to have enough supply to get the Mutalisks out, and but he still has those Corsairs. He needs to get rid of those Corsairs if he's going to do anything with these Mutalisks. Otherwise, the Corsairs will just eat those Mutalisks alive, in which case they would no longer be alive. They'd be dead. So he's going to eat them dead. But it looks as if Bisu has managed to hold it off, and wow, that was intense. That was absolutely intense. Shine almost, with just all-in mass Hydras, almost managed to break Bisu's door, and I would say even that his door was broken, and he was just fighting off reinforcements alone, and somehow barely managed to survive just through the sheer force of being the Gosu beast that he is. And that is what I'm talking about. You know, you want to cut corners and then barely survive, and that's actually something that Dignity had told me that Noonie had said before, is that, you know, you want to just barely survive the attack, because then you're in a good position going to the late game. And here's the drop coming in here. Is he going to storm? Where's your storms, Bisu? Oh no, those Templar just came out of the gateways. They don't have enough for a storm yet. He needs to get them out of the way so they can storm later. Bisu running in with all of his forces. He's got 3 observers. 4 observers, so he's not going to be able to just snipe observers there. And it looks like Bisu may have the forces to deal with this. And in the meantime, Bisu has taken out several drones with a single Dark Templar. And that means that Shine is not going to have the economy to keep up this constant onslaught of Hydras that he's been pumping at Bisu for the last 5 minutes. 5 minutes of constantly pumping it. I don't know if Shine even realizes it. There's a storm going off. Not a very well placed storm, actually. It looks like he mistargeted and accidentally stormed his own gateway. Or something like that. But, wow. So now Shine is definitely not going to have the economy to keep this up. I don't know if he even realizes that Dark Templar is there still. He's been just probably macroing off of his hotkeys and not paying attention. Bisu still hasn't managed to clean up the forces in his base, though. It looks like he might be able to do that pretty soon, and still more Hydras coming! So Shine may still theoretically have a chance at taking this out, but I really don't, just the fact that Bisu still has that 3rd base running perfectly fine, and he's managed to clean up his main, means that he is going to be able to survive this onslaught and survive. He did sacrifice his most of his Corsair army holding that off. And here comes probably the last attack here. Pylon is going to go down. Cannons in the back. Zealots going in to try and take hits for the cannons so the cannons can get more shots off. And of course do their own damage. Not attacking with the lurkers though. If he had a couple lurkers in that attack, it would have been really nice. And that Dark Templar still going to work on his 3rd base. That single Dark Templar with a ton of kills is going to start taking out hatcheries now. And Shine is probably at this point realized it, but just ignoring it. 15 kills on that DT. And I don't know if that includes the 2 sunken colonies or not. And wow, Bisu is just holding on by the skin of his teeth here, just barely macroing up enough forces to hold off this thing on his front door. Now there's lurkers in with those Hydralisks. He may still be able to puncture Bisu's front door after all. Bisu does not look very phased though. He looks very confident in this situation. He knows that he's killed off Shine's 3rd base. He knows that Shine is going to be mining out before too long. A single Dark Templar manages to sneak in. All of his forces have been rallied forward. Bisu gets a DT into his natural expansion. Not a single Overlord in there. Bisu is starting to kill off the natural expansion, and Shine's production is now going to be shut down completely because he is only mining at his main base. He's lost some drones. He's going to have to shut down the production of this mass Hydras. Bisu no longer has forces in his main base. His 3rd base is very, very well defended. Looks like he got a storm off on those. And Bisu does GG, though. I thought he was going to be able to hold that off, but Bisu, under the relentless pressure of mass Hydras, GG's. wow, I am flabbergasted that Bisu just GG'd right there. I thought that he had held that off enough that he was going to try and make a run for it. But I guess Shine was able to keep. I guess I gotta admit I just totally miscalled that. I thought that he had killed enough of Shine's economy that that Shine could not keep up the onslaught, but he was able to keep it up enough and finally wore Bisu down enough to force a GG out of him. So absolutely ridiculous, crazy game. Bisu looking a little bit phased though, but Bisu's not the kind of player to cave under pressure. This is a best of 3, so he still can come back and win the next 2 games. So let's move on to game 2. Thanks for watching. GG.